In this video, we're going to talk about your business plan keys to success. So there's 5 major steps that will lead to a successful business. My name's Dr. Diane Mueller. I also go by Diamond. I have taken businesses to the top 4% of small businesses in the United States, and I'm going to teach you in this video some of the keys to do this. The first plan is making sure you are clear about where you want to get. This is really important because a lot of people jump into business and they think they want to do something. They feel super excited about their product or about their service, and they don't really know where they're going. So some of the clarity comes down to understanding what you want your business, but also your life to look like. So you want to be thinking about, as you're setting up your business plan, you want to be thinking about, do you want to make $100,000 a year? Do you want to make $1 million a year? Do you want to make $100,000 a month? What are these parameters that you are looking to do? You also want to think about how involved in your business you want to be. Do you want to be primarily running the business? Do you want to be delivering the services? Do you want to be largely stepping out of it? Do you want to sell it? All of these things are going to make a huge difference in the decisions you make. So you want to be very, very clear. You also want to be clear on some of the parameters. Do you want to be on the phone? Do you want to be doing everything via the internet? Do you want to be location independent? Do you want to have a brick and mortar? So the more clear you can get on some of these things, the better you will be able to set up your plan. So once you know some of the parameters, such as where you want to be in a year from a financial standpoint, how many hours a week you want to work, what you want your roles to be, set that up for a year goal from now. So the idea is, if you want to have $1 million business 5 years from now, for example, then you want to work backwards and say, okay, by the end of year 1, it would be really great if you were doing $250,000 a year, right? That sets you on track for doing something like $5 million in 5 years, because growth is exponential. So step 1 is get clear. Where do you want to be? What do you want your life and your business to look like? Step 2 is develop your year-long plan. So if you want to be a certain place in 5 years, where does that mean you need to be in a year? And that is talking about finances, but it's also talking about staffing and these types of things. So if you want to be in 5 years, you want to be, say, acquisition ready, you want to sell your business, then at the end of 1 year, you should be at a point, and your goal is to be at a point where you can be hiring other people to replace you, starting to develop systems and strategies, these sorts of things. Versus if at 5 million in 5 years, let's say that's your goal, if that's where you want to be in 5 years, but you want to be heavily invested in the day-to-day of your business, you want to actually be delivering the services, then at the end of 1 or 2 years, you're probably going to want to hire a CEO or COO. So you need to be looking at how you will be able to fund that. The reason this is important is because where your goals are and what your goals are also going to help you with pricing your product or your service. So you want to make sure that at the end of year 1, if you need to hire a admin or you need to hire a COO, you want to think about how much revenue you need to have on top of paying yourself in order to hire those people, right? So that means that you might need to price your product or add additional value to be able to price your product at a higher level to make sure that you have the revenue coming in to be able to hire somebody that can help you with your goals. So step 1, we have clarity. Step 2, we have your year plan. Now, once you have those 2 things, that should help you with pricing. And step 3 is understanding the lead flow. So the lead flow is the journey that a potential client or customer is going to take from the moment they are looking for you and what you provide, all the way up until the point where they actually purchase from you. So let's say you're selling beauty products. Let's say you have an online business and you're selling makeup, okay? So in this example, you're going to want to think about what is the process from somebody typing in makeup to the point where they find you and they buy from you. So it used to be said that we needed 7 or 8 touch points before people will actually buy our services. Now the recent statistic is that we need 24 touch points before somebody buys from us. So this means they need to understand you and your brand. They need to believe in what you're offering as a potential somebody that they want to do business with. So the lead flow and understanding the lead flow is somebody types in makeup. And let's say they're brought to your webpage, or let's say they're brought to your social media. So if they're brought to your webpage, maybe they are taking a look at your website. Maybe you have a free downloadable guide about how to apply makeup and your makeup techniques. They go into your email list. You email them additional resources and information. Maybe you give them a copy, or you send them to a webinar you're doing on makeup techniques, and say on that webinar you would sell them some sort of product. So that is a lead flow, right? They typed in makeup, they go through this process, eventually they get to your product. A separate lead flow could be they end up on your social media. Maybe you make an Instagram post they love, and all of a sudden they're following you. Now, if they're just following you and they haven't joined an email list and they haven't done anything like that, you really haven't got much of their attention yet. So you may need to find different ways throughout your social media techniques and your social media platform where they're seeing your content and you're delivering high value content to them 24 times. And in every once in a while, about one every 8 to 10 times when you're posting things, you will then pitch them something that you're selling, right? So in that lead flow, they see you on social media, they follow you for a while, you get a lot of content, eventually you sales pitch them and they buy. So this is really important because once you understand your lead flow, then you can come up with your marketing plan, right? If you have one lead flow that is like, okay, they're downloading something on your site, you then send them into a nurture email sequence where you're giving them all sorts of content, and eventually they buy. You need to then, part of your marketing plan is developing out those steps. Same thing with Instagram, or another social media platform. So they see you on social media and you're nurturing them with all this content, and eventually you sell them. You need to have a plan with that. So step number 3 is your lead flow. Step number 4 is developing your marketing plan based upon all of these steps in your lead flow. Step number 5 is analytics. This is where a lot of people really drop the ball, because in order to grow your business, one of the most essential things is knowing your numbers. So what does that mean? That means a few different things. So one thing it means is that in every step of your lead flow, you want to see what the statistics are. So if you have somebody join your mailing list and you send them a bunch of emails and they never open them, that's really important information, right? That those emails are not working if they haven't even opened them. So if you understand your analytics from this side and understand and look at your open rates in your emails, then you're able to see, oh, nobody's opening these. Maybe it's because my subject line is not catchy enough. If people start opening them, but nobody is buying, then maybe the way you are asking them to buy or the value you're giving them is not up to par to make them purchase. So then you need to analyze each and every of these steps, and that will help you know where in your lead flow is the biggest problem, right? So if you have 100 people come to your site and 50 of them join your mailing list because of a free giveaway you're giving, that's really good, right? So we know that's not the problem. But if not, people are not purchasing and they're not opening your emails, then we know that that's the number one important problem. So this is how we use analytics. And this is using analytics is like, sometimes people get scared of this, but in some ways, it's the biggest way to stop overwhelm, because when you use analytics, it's going to tell you, oh, the number one point in this example that you need to focus on in this given month is your subject line of your emails. Same thing with our social media. How many reaches are you getting? If people aren't opening your videos, for example, on some of the social media platforms, it might be that they're not getting in the hands of the right audience, right? So if you're not reaching anybody, it's probably a hashtag problem or some sort of whatever you're using to attract people. Hashtags are one of the biggest ways where our social media platforms know where to send this content. So if nobody's opening your content, you might need to do work with researching hashtags to make sure your content is getting into the hands of your audience. So there you have it, the top 5 things to really consider in putting together a good business plan for success. I'm Dr. Diane, otherwise known as Diamond. See you next time.